Hello, hello, hello. How you been doing, family? Here I am back in your eardrums and in your eyeballs again. Today is May the 8th. May the 8th. So I am back to cover sports, basketball, football, baseball, HBCU, SWAC. Let me know. A lot of things have occurred since we last talked, but I'm gonna run over them real quick. First of all, University of Houston made it to the Final Four and lost to Florida at the buzzer by not taking one shot, not being able to get the shot off. But I want to let people know right now that I am so proud of University of Houston. They basically were the underdogs for all the big games they played. When I say underdogs, I mean that the powers that be said that they were not going to win, such as against Purdue, Tennessee, and Duke. But they made it anyway. They had them losing by 20 points or more against Florida, and that didn't happen. They had a chance to beat Florida. But I'm not mad because do you know how many teams tried to get to the Final Four, at least on the championship game? So U of H had a magnificent year. Coach Sampson is to be complimented along with his players and coaching staff. And I'm gonna give him his flowers today. Wonderful job done, University of Houston men's basketball. Okay, moving on. We got something I want to talk about on the 3 SWAC schools that are being put on academic probation. And it's a level 1 type academic probation, but what it does is, and those schools are FAMU, UAPB, University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, FAMU, Florida A&M, and Mississippi Valley State University. So what their probation will consist of is practice time on the football field will be reduced, and they won't be able to get to any postseason ban or game. They're going to have a postseason ban, my fault. Let me say it one more time. We got 3 schools, Mississippi Valley, Florida A&M University, and University of Arkansas Pine Bluff that are going to go on academic probation, and their punishment for a level 1 probation is reduced practice time for the football team, but the killer is there will not be any postseason play that they'll be able to do. So out of those 2 schools, the most likely would have been FAMU to go back to the championship game, but they won't even make it because of this. Doesn't mean that they won't try to have a good season, but these are things that they're going to be faced with. All right. I want to give a shout out and give some flowers to Jim Dent. I can remember growing up, Jim Dent playing golf. There wasn't a whole bunch of black ones on the PGA Tour. You had Jim Dent and you had Lee Elder. And so if you didn't see one of the 2 of them, you didn't see any. But anyway, Jim Dent, who as he was on the PGA Tour, didn't win any tournaments, but when he got into the seniors PGA Tour, he won 12 tournament titles from 89 to 1998. Earned over $9 million. So he had a good career, even on the back end of his career. But one more time, I want to give my flowers to Jim Dent, a pioneering black man in the field of professional golf. And he also attended an HBCU. He attended Payne College on a football scholarship. About a 6'3", 220, 30 pounds. He was a big man. Could hit that ball a long way off the tee. We're going to move on to SWAC softball. Okay, we got games scheduled for today. Who's Texas Southern playing? They're playing Florida A&M, and Prairie View is playing Bethune-Cookman, and the winner of those 2 games will play each other. We got Alabama State is playing Jackson State. and it's a double elimination. So they're waiting on these other games to be able to see who's going to play in the championship game. So the winner out of Bethune-Cookman is going to play and Prairie View is going to play the winner out of Texas Southern and Florida A&M. And then the winner out of those will play the winner out of Jackson State and Alabama State. They're going to have to play twice because they have not lost. But this is the bracket, and as I always say, if you're in the area of Gulfport, Mississippi, please try to go out and support the young ladies in their softball tournament. And the winner of these tournaments gets to go into the NCAA softball national championship. Okay? So we got that. Now on baseball, you got the standings are in baseball. You got Grambling started off kind of slow after being right up there at the top and fighting for the championship last year. They have found their way, and they are now climbing up the ladder in baseball. And right now, search conference schedule. Here we go. Full schedule for today. Well, starting this weekend. Starting this weekend on baseball, we'll have Florida A&M. Friday, Florida A&M will be here playing Texas Southern University. Prairie View hosts Mississippi Valley. Jackson State plays University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. Alcorn will play Arkansas, hold on, they can't play twice. Something's wrong. Okay, that's Wednesday, so we know there's no game Wednesday. Friday, Alcorn is playing Alabama State. Jackson State is playing UAPB. Bethune-Cookman is playing Grambling State. I look for the standings right here. The standings for now are Bethune-Cookman is 20-4 in the conference. Those Florida teams, as I told you the last show, they're going to be tough to beat because they play a whole bunch of baseball in Florida. You got Venezuelans, you got Cubans, the Hispanics in Florida, which most of their teams have Hispanic players, Bethune-Cookman, FAMU. Bethune-Cookman is 20-4. Florida A&M is 18-6. Grambling State is 16-8. Alabama State is 15-9. Now, I'm looking at Grambling 16-8. Just a couple of weeks ago, Grambling was on the negative side. So they've won a few series, as you can see. Texas Southern was high up, but they've lost a couple series. They just got swept by Southern University this past weekend here in Houston. So Jackson State is 14-10. Texas Southern is 14-10. Arkansas Pine Bluff is 12-9. Southern is 13-11. Prairie View is 9-11. Mississippi Valley 6-18. Alabama A&M 2-22. And Alcorn State has won one game, 1-23. And the big thing in the SWAC is the pitching. You'll see if you follow SWAC baseball, the score would be 16-14. 10-8, 17-15. Texas Southern played the game, it was 20-something to 12. They don't have a lot of good pitching. I'm not saying there aren't good pitchers, but they don't have a lot of good pitching. That's why these scores are so high. The Southern TSU game, we were watching the game this past weekend, and basically everybody was in the stands was saying whoever come in and bat last looked like going to win the game. Because they would like Southern to get a 4-run lead, Texas Southern come back with 5 runs. Texas Southern get a 1-run lead, Southern come back with 3 runs. So the pitching right now in the SWAC leaves a little bit to be desired, other than Bethune-Cookman and FAMU. You know, they have some pretty good pitching. So, but anyway, that's the men's baseball. Now, going into football, the draft just occurred. Football draft for the NFL. And you have SWAC players, MEAC players, SIAC, and CIAA, black conferences, only one player was drafted out of 4 black conferences. There are more, but these are your top 4 black conferences across the United States. The MEAC, SWAC, SIAC, and the CIAA. Only one player was drafted from Alabama A&M University in the 5th round. Carson Vincent on offensive tackle, 6'7", 314. So the Baltimore Ravens is going to give this gentleman a shot. 6'7", he's like a mountain. These guys are so big on offensive line that if they can just hold their own, it takes a player a while to just get around them. They're so big. So now only one got drafted, family, but let me tell you this. There's going to be some black HBCU players that make some NFL football teams. I promise you that, mark my words. HBCU players that got undrafted free agent contracts. You got Robert Daniels, Jackson State, the Commanders. You got Joaquin Davis, North Carolina Central. He went to the Broncos. Aaron Smith, South Carolina State, went to the Jets. Now, let me let you know that even when you go undrafted free agent, some of these guys get signing bonus. You know, get $200,000, $300,000 signing bonus. You got Kendall Bowlery, FAMU is going to the Broncos. You got Daquan Felton, Norfolk State, going to the Giants. And you got Jason Ivey, North Carolina A&T, going to the Browns. And one last one, we got T. Simpkins, North Carolina Central, going to the Saints. So I'm pulling for all these young men to make it to the NFL and make the teams, and nothing else, the practice squads. Practice squads play pretty good. You know, you got guys making anywhere from $5,000, $8,000 a week on the practice squad. And it may have increased since then. So $8,000 for 16 weeks is not bad work. And if it's $10,000, if it's up to $10,000, like some of my people are telling me, it's even better. So, that's what's happening on the HBCU scene on the NFL draft. Now, going fast, because we're going to have a guest on the show that's going to take most of the time, but we got NFL draft. Down below, tell me what you think about the draft when they drafted Shedeur in the 5th round, the 2nd quarterback with Cleveland. Down below, let me know what you think. I'm getting ready to tell you what I think in just a moment. Also, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and smash that bell so you can be notified every time a show comes out. I really appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that's been watching the show and getting the word out. So I'm going to do the NFL quarterback so you can see. And tell me what you think about where he should have failed. Cam Ward, right out of West Columbia, Texas, which is right around the road from Houston. This kid was not even ranked coming out of high school. He went to Incarnate Word University. As I tell these kids all the time, don't be afraid to go to HBCU, because you know what? They play the big schools. So eventually you will be seen. If you have the goods and the talent, you will be seen. So this kid led you Incarnate Word to like a 9-1 or 9-2 or 10-2 record playing against big schools. And you know what? The next thing you know, he's at Washington State University, quarterbacking them to a 10-1, 9-2 record. And he didn't stop there. He then gets a contract NIL. Yes, a contract NIL. A lot of these players don't leave now in college. They play them extra years because if they can get NIL money, why leave? When you got 3 squares a day, you got a place to stay, you're practicing football, yes, you're still practicing, but you're making $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. Heck, if you're making $500,000 in college, that's wonderful, and with no bills or responsibility. So you got Cam Ward from Miami, University of Miami, went to the Titans. He was the first quarterback. Then you got Jackson Dart from went to the New York Giants from University of Mississippi. Tyler Slaw, the third one from Louisville. That's where we thought the Saints were going to draft Shedeur. Did you think the Saints were going to draft Shedeur?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm asking Guillermo. Y'all know who my Guillermo is, but he know a little bit about them Saints because he out of Louisiana. So then you had Jalen Milrose from the University of Alabama, who people said that he wasn't going to get drafted, and he did. Went to the Seattle Seahawks because he's talented. You know, he's talented. And you got coaches that can work with these players and get them where they need to be. You had Dylan Gabriel. Here's where the problem comes. University of Oregon going to the Browns 1. And I want you again to tell me down below, RG3, Robert Griffin from Baylor University, that was Washington Commanders' first-round draft choice, says that he thinks they're setting up Shedeur to fail. You know, you go to a place that's got 3 quarterbacks, now you become the 4th quarterback. They paid Dylan Gabriel twice or 3 times as much as they're going to pay Shedeur, and his contract is guaranteed for 3 or 4 years. You got another quarterback, Flacco, that was there to help, you know, get Cleveland almost to the playoffs. And then you got Kenny Pickett. So one more time, let me know if you agree with RG3 saying that they setting him up for failure. What I think is, I think that they're trying to teach Deion and the Sanders a lesson, you know, because Deion was saying before the draft that there's only a few places he wanted his son to go, and he was going to make sure of that. So they took it as if he's trying to run the NFL. But no, that's not what his purpose was. If you can remember 10 or 12, 15 years ago, Eli Manning was coming out of the University of Mississippi, and his dad told San Diego Chargers that don't draft him, because San Diego Chargers had the number 1 draft charge, and they was pitiful as a team. He said, don't draft Eli because he's not coming. And they said that he was looking out for his son. But when Deion did it, looking out for his son, they said he was trying to run the NFL. You know, so they always trying to bring Deion back. And Deion has one hell of a quote, Shaylin, that I just love to death. And that is don't let my confidence step on your insecurity. Don't be so insecure about yourself just because I'm a confident black man. You know, I know what I can do and what I can achieve. So he stepped on some toes, and I'd be willing to bet $5. As you can see, I'm not a betting man. $5 that I know the NFL was behind that. They actually blackballed him. You think they blackballed him, Shell? Huh? Yeah? Okay, that Guillermo go, you know, he don't know but a few things, you know. I'm gonna start talking about some ladies, and I think he might know a few things about the ladies, but sports, he kind of like go in and out on me. But anyway, they got Shedeur came in later in the 5th round. You got Will Howard from Ohio State, went to the Steelers. I thought the Steelers were going to take him. They didn't do it. You got Cal McCord from Syracuse, went to the Eagles. And now one guy that even fell farther than him was Quinn Ewers from Texas, University of Texas. He fell all the way to Miami, like in the 7th round. So one more time, let me know what you think. Do you think they were punishing Shedeur for him being so, they want to say cocky, but I want to say confident. They want to say that Deion wanted to try to run it. I want to say confident again, and wanted to make sure that his son went to somewhere that's going to give him the right opportunity. Now, Shiloh did not even get drafted. But one more time, his dad stepped in for him and got him, because of his relationship with Mr. Bowles at Tampa Bay, got him signed as an undrafted free agent. In other words, he didn't just get an invite. A lot of guys just got invites where you don't get anything. He's an undrafted free agent, and I think Shiloh got like about a $400 signing bonus, $400,000 signing bonus. So he's still looking out for his kids, which is what he should do. So let me know what you think about the NFL. Okay, moving on. I want to give some flowers to Dick Barnett. Dick Barnett played with the New York Knicks. He came from Tennessee State University. He played in the late 60s. in the early 60s and until the late 60s. He won a championship with the New York Knicks in 70 and in 73. So Dick Barnett, all you old timers know Dick Barnett. He had that funny jumper that hit nothing but bottom. But anyway, he wasn't just a basketball player. After basketball, he went on to become a doctor at academia. He's Dr. Dick Barnett. So I want to give Dr. Dick Barnett his flowers, an HBCU graduate from Tennessee State University, where, by the way, they won 3 national NIA championships. That's right, 3. Because then freshmen couldn't play varsity. So every year he played varsity, he led Tennessee State to an NAIA championship. Now, it wasn't just him, but he was on that team. And they hadn't won any prior, and they hadn't won any since. So he was a big reason why they did that. So that was a good thing on Dick Barnett. I wanted to give him his flowers. Talking about another senior person, did you guys see the show, not the show, the game where Tyrese Halliburton's dad walked out on the court to well, he said he wasn't confronting Giannis Antetokounmpo, but this guy just lost a championship 7th game, not a championship, but an opportunity to continue on to the championship in the 7th game. And his dad walks up on the court and gets in front of him with a Tyrese Halliburton towel, talking smack. He said he didn't say nothing, but he did. He said something. Giannis don't have any reason to lie. Giannis said, this is what his dad said, this is what we do. And one of the sportscasters was saying he thought it was atrocious that his dad went out there at a moment when his son just did the city of Indianapolis and the Pacers a wonderful job of scoring the game-winning point. Took all the light off his son and put it on him for some negativity. You know, but today is Wednesday. This occurred last week, so they're trying to get over it now. But it was a bad thing because as everybody that's reporting on is saying that it's so good that it was Giannis, because if it had been, I think just about anybody else, his dad may have got a 2-piece. When I say 2-piece, a left and a right for walking out in front of this guy talking smack to him on the court. But I can also understand his dad being so happy that his son had hit the game winner. But you got to watch your emotions. You can't go out on the court and confront these players. And that's what these players say all the time about fans. Yeah, we get paid a lot of money, but you know, it's not right for people to be able to walk up to you and say things and about you, your family, and everybody else. So I think his dad has gotten the message because the Pacers have banned him from the arena, the rest of the playoffs. But I think he's gotten the message. You know, be happy for your son, like Tim Hardaway was for his son, and like some of the other dads at the game. But they're not walking out on the court. So I just wanted to see what you think of. Tell me what you think about that too down below. Okay, moving on. We got the NBA playoffs. I think they are super fantastic because none of the home teams have won a game up until last night, Tuesday night, where OKC beat Denver. So here we go. This is the Elite 8 of the NBA. Boston is playing the New York Knicks. They are 0-2, lost 2 games in Boston. And I'm like, I cannot believe it. Yes, I had picked Boston to beat the Knicks. They beat them 4 times this year. But that just goes back to show you just can't beat a team 4, 5, 6, 7 times in a year without them winning one. Now, I still feel like Boston's got a chance, but I think they got to stop shooting threes. They shooting threes like they getting paid extra to shoot them. You know, after you miss so many, start taking the ball to the basket. But anyway, they've lost 2 one-point games, so they are now trailing the Knicks 0-2. I still feel like if Boston can win tomorrow night, they can win the series. Tomorrow night is the biggest game for them. If they go down 3-0, it's over with. OKC versus Denver. That's 1-1. The game last night, OKC dropped 87 points on Denver first half. A NBA playoff record. And one of the guys from Denver said it's ridiculous. He said, it's pitiful how we had no pride you know, you don't mind getting beat, but getting drove like that, it's like you didn't show up. And Denver may not recover from this because, yeah, they're going home, but you've given so much confidence to OKC saying, look, they shouldn't have never won that first game. When you fought real hard and you won that first game. You can't depend on because you won one game, you're going to go home and win the next two. But that's what's happening. Denver's playing OKC Friday night also. But it's 1-1. Cavaliers playing the Pacers, 0-2. Lost both the games. Now, Cleveland kind of halfway has an excuse. They had 3 players not playing the second game. They didn't have no excuse the first game, but that second game, they had 3 players missing. So I want to say the Cavs still have a chance, but they got to beat the Pacers tonight. Tonight is May the 8th, Thursday. They got to beat the Pacers. If they lose that one, it's over. Golden State is playing the T-Wolves tonight. T-Wolves lost the first game in Minnesota. It was unbelievable. All the home teams lost the opening round games. I have never seen anything like that. Okay, so now you have the T-Wolves are trailing. They need to win the game tonight. Now, it's going to be much harder for Golden State tonight because Golden State is without Steph Curry. And Steph Curry is a difference maker. Even when he's not making shots, you got to have all eyes on him where he's at. When he cuts through the lane and run around picks, you got people switching, watching him. It just creates havoc. Somebody becomes open. So now I don't know with Golden State. I had the T-Wolves winning anyway. I had maybe Golden State winning one game, and maybe that's the game that they won already. That's it. But I'll see tonight with the T-Wolves. So I think that I'm looking at Knicks win tomorrow. It's over with. Denver and OKC, I feel like Denver needs to win the first game in Denver. If not, OKC is going to go on a run and close it out in OKC. Pacers, I feel like the Cavaliers got to win tonight. If they don't win tonight, Pacers going to close it out. Golden State and T-Wolves, I think that this is the best game where the team behind can win the series. I think the T-Wolves have an opportunity to win from here on out. I'm looking at it maybe 4-2. They might win one in Golden State that is. But they can't go, they keep going down to Golden State 0-2. Now, our Rockets got beat by Golden State. Now, opportunities for our young Rockets to win, but I think it's a growing pain and it's a lesson for them that I think they're only going to get better. Jalen Green, the guy that I love, everybody calling me, telling me, hey man, your guy didn't come through. No, he didn't. So, but I'm thinking that he understands what he's got to do. Get in that weight room, he got to work on his jumping, he's got to work on attacking the goal, get stronger. So I think that in the end, OKC and the Knicks will be there if the Boston doesn't win. Okay? I've talked about softball. I've talked about the academics. So I want to thank everyone for coming to the show. And what we're about to do now is bring in a guest for the remainder of the show. But before we do that, please go to fatlarrypodcast@gmail.com to order you a t-shirt. We got several orders in after last week, so I want to keep up the momentum. We got white, long sleeve, short sleeve. We got blue, long sleeve, short sleeve, dark blue. We can get black, any color you want. We got maroon, gray, and white, any color you want. Go to fatlarrypodcast@gmail.com and order you a t-shirt. Okay? And without further ado, we're going to send it over to our guest.
Mr. Womack is the broker and president and CEO of Womack Development Investment Realtors, a private minority-owned full-service commercial and residential real estate brokerage firm. Over the years, he has been known to be a respected community businessman and partner and has received many awards. Now, he sells real estate everywhere, but this specialty is right here in 3rd Ward. This guy can get it taken care of.
And now for our guest, family, we have a magnificent guest for you, Lewis Richardson. Lewis, welcome to the show, my brother.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. This is
Well,
the first time I've ever done something like this.
Oh, you never done anything like this?
No.
That's okay. It's a first for everything, my brother.
That's right.
And let me let the family know that how I know this gentleman is how I got into sports. This is the guy that in small towns across the country, generally, high school stars, high school football players become stars in the city, and this was mine. This is who I tried to pattern my game after, Lewis Richardson Jr. So, Lewis, without further ado, let my listening audience know I have plenty of people here in Houston, where I'm at, over in 3rd Ward, Texas, exactly where the school that you won your state championship is located. So I know I'm gonna hear from all my JY. See, I've been here long enough now, Lewis. They call it JY instead of Jackie.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna hear from them after I say, "Oh man, you had to put your boy on." I say, "Yeah."
Yeah,
So
I know you will.
Huh?
I say, I know you will hear some stuff from anybody.
Okay. Lewis, give my listening audience a little background on your bio and we know where you're from, but go ahead and tell us if you didn't know and accolades you achieved in high school football.
Okay, well, first of all, I was born in Houston, Texas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, born in Houston, and that's where my mother's from. And I lived for a while in 5th Ward, Texas.
Oh,
I'm from Lyons Avenue.
Oh, man. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Something new, family. I didn't know.
Yeah, and it's because my mother went to Wheatley High School.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Now Daddy went to Moore High. That's where he went. Coach Posey was his coach. He went to Wild and played for Pop Long, and they won a national championship there. That's when he became an All-American. In fact, they were undefeated that year. And he started coaching in Midland at Carver High School.
Okay.
And then later on, he moved to Moore High School, his alma mater.
Okay.
And I saw a lot of championships won before I even started playing.
Most definitely.
You know, I'd go to the games. Me and my brother used to dress up in football uniforms and lead the team out on the field when we were little. You know, he
good stuff, man. Good stuff.
So,
good stuff.
Yeah, and so I started playing in the 7th grade tackle football, and from all the way to the 12th grade. We played junior high football against Wiley and some of the other teams around there. You know, that's where Larry Walker came from. He came from Wiley and came to Moore High.
Right.
In fact, I think we only lost one game in junior high school.
Okay. And
then we played with the B team a little bit, and I played on the varsity my 10th grade year.
Right.
We had a lot of fun. Now I guess in the 7th grade, I knew all the plays, who everybody was supposed to block, all the pass formations in the 7th grade, because I was watching film with my daddy.
I was just going to ask you, how did you know that, just from observation, or were you in there with your dad as he was studying film?
Yes, he was studying film. I was watching too. And, when he's drawing out plays and defenses and stuff. So I knew who everybody was supposed to block on every play against all the defense that they were facing all the time. So when I got to the varsity, it was kind of like it was just secondhand. It was like I just knew everything. And I remember growing up, my dad planted this Chinaberry tree in the backyard, and it had a fork in it. So about 2 or 3 times a week, I would practice throwing the football through that fork. Now I'm in elementary school now. Yeah. And the older I got, he put a tire on the tree because the tree was growing.
Okay.
So then I throw through the tire all the time. This is in the backyard now. So when I got to the varsity, it was kind of like a no-brainer. I knew everything that he was thinking. And and I played a lot as a 10th grader. There was a senior on the team. There was the quarterback.
Right.
And I found out after I graduated that the reason I starting, I guess the last half of the season, some of the players and the coaches went to Daddy and said, "Look, you know you need to go in and start your son." It was almost like he was waiting for approval from other people before he started me.
He was trying to do the politically correct thing.
Yeah,
He
right,
was trying to do the politically correct thing. And family, hold on, Lewis, keep that thought now. Let me kind of preface his daddy. You've heard him call his daddy name a couple times. His daddy is Coach Lewis Richardson in the Texas Hall of Fame, 132 wins, 38 losses.
Something like that, yeah.
38 losses in his 16 years in high school coaching. One more time, 132 wins, 38 losses in 16 years. Before he got there, he wrote in a book that everybody wanted to play Mo High for their homecoming. After he got there after his second year, he couldn't find anybody that wanted to play
That's right.
for homecoming. That's how great his dad was. Go ahead, Lewis.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All right. So that first year, I remember the first touchdown I ever ran. I handed the ball off, and the guy fumbled the ball. It was a wet night, and I picked the ball up, and I ran about a 25 or 30-yard touchdown. It seemed like the goal line was so far away, like I was not going to ever get there.
10th grade or junior?
Huh?
10th grade or junior? When that happened?
I was in the 10th grade when that happened.
10th grade, okay.
10th grade, yeah. That was my first touchdown I ever ran. And I swear, it looked like the goal line kept going further and further back as I was running. Oh, shoot.
And let me tell you, family, he was not slow. He was not slow. Let me tell you that. He was on Mo High's 4x4 state team, relay team. Go ahead.
That's right. That's right. I don't know. You got a particular question you want to ask? I know that.
Okay. I know it's kind of hard for people to talk about themselves and their accolades, because when they tell me, ask me sometimes, "Yeah, you didn't play no football, man." I always tell them, "Go look it up. It's in the book."
Yeah.
So versus me trying to tell them, but I'll take it, mantle. I'll take the baton from you. This guy was Pittsburgh All-American high school, all-state quarterback. This is third ward paraphernalia I got on as we're right here in H-Town, Texas.
And that was 2 years in a row.
And the high school that we won for our last state, I say we, because I'm a proud alumni of Mo High also, that we won was against Jack Yates, that's out of Third Ward, Texas. My grandson played basketball on Yates' 2019 state team.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and in the athletic gym where you go in, they got a picture of Jack Yates saying state final 64. And I cracked them up. I said, have anybody ever told you who beat them? They just say state finalists. Did anybody ever told you beat them? He said, "No, Papa." I said, "Waco Mo beat them for state championship." He said, "Y'all beat them?" I said, "We sure did." And so he was the state quarterback against Jack Yates on 2 years before they stopped the PVIL. And that's a good segue, Lewis. I'm going to have you talk about PVIL also. But anyway, he was a high school All-American, first Black quarterback at University of Wisconsin. And so in the Big Ten. And he went there. And I think James was going to go. James Jones was going to go with you originally, but they gave up that money for baseball, right?
Yeah, we were there in the summertime. They got us jobs. And he was playing baseball. They found a team for him to play baseball on during the summertime, and some scouts saw him because the one game he hit a home run, a long home run. They started flashing that money in front of him, and he decided to take the money instead of staying.
I ain't mad at him.
No, I ain't mad at him.
I ain't mad at him.
No, not at all.
That's the segue in before I start asking questions. High school All-American, all-state, top 100 high school player,
Yeah.
What other scholarships did you have other than Wisconsin before I go any further?
Um, and Oklahoma, Wisconsin, Iowa, UCLA. Um, did I say Oklahoma? Baylor,
Yeah, baby. You say
SMU.
USC?
Yeah.
USC.
And UCLA.
Yeah.
The thing about the Southwest Conference, a lot of us we couldn't really go to the Southwest Conference when
Couldn't
I was
go.
playing,
Couldn't
but
go.
Jerry Device was the first black player given a scholarship at SMU, and Baylor recruited me. I decided not to go there. Now John Westbrook was there; he was the first black player at Baylor, but he wasn't on scholarship then. He
Yeah,
was a
walk on.
walk-on at the
Hmm.
time, and I went to visit SMU. And Jerry Levi's, he was the only one there that said, "Man, you need to come join me. I'm here by myself." So I would have been the second player in the Southwest Conference to be awarded a scholarship if I decided to go there.
Did Hayden Fry
So,
want you to play quarterback? Let me know.
yeah, right. At that particular time, yes, and Baylor.
Okay.
But you never know because most guys that were like me, um, they were recruited, but they end up playing something else
Something else.
most of the time.
I had a
You know,
scholarship offer to TCU, and they were talking about wide receiver or running
yeah,
back.
right,
That's what they were talking
right.
about. Uh-huh.
They weren't. It's funny, they weren't ready for our style of play
Hmm.
at that time. And now look at the NFL and look at college. Unbelievable. And sometimes I feel like I had a hand in that because I didn't play the other position. I just stuck it out, even though I wasn't playing. I played wide receiver one year, my sophomore year, but that was a waste,
Right.
a real waste of my time and their time and all of that.
You said your
When
time.
I played my freshman year, um, when I was playing, freshmen couldn't play varsity football
Right.
in the United States. Nobody, as a freshman, you didn't play, so you had to be on the freshman team. So all the colleges had freshman teams, and we had a lot of good guys on our freshman team. In fact, one of them was from Houston Yates. His name was Lucius Blair.
Okay.
Uh, he was on the team, and they had recruited another black quarterback from West Virginia. His name was Mel. I can't think of his last name now, but I won out on that. We were undefeated.
On your freshman team.
Yeah, we
Mm-hmm.
we beat all those teams that ended up going to the Rose Bowl
Rose Bowl,
before
right.
us. We beat them.
Michigan State. Because
Yeah,
you know, at that
all that.
time, Big Bubba was there, wasn't he?
Right. Right. Yeah, but he was on the varsity then when I was a freshman. So I
Right.
I didn't I didn't play against him.
Okay.
So I got the most valuable player on the freshman team,
Okay.
which was a big deal. Um, after the football season, the varsity wasn't doing well, so they got rid of the head coach, and they brought some other coaches in that I don't think had ever been around a lot of black people before,
Right.
and they just did not know how to act, coach, or whatever. And we had a lot of run-ins with them. So that's when they decided they wanted me to go to play receiver. I reluctantly agreed. And like I said before, that was just a waste of my time.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if the portal had been open like it is
Oh, for
now,
sure. You'd been gone.
yeah, I would have left. I would
You'd have
have
been gone.
left. And I probably would have gone to UCLA
Uh-huh.
because they recruited two black quarterbacks at UCLA when I was being recruited. It was me and another guy, and he played at
They had a
UCLA.
guy that at SC that played too, probably the same time you was there.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think about that all the time. But anyway, I played that year, and my junior year they decided to put me back at quarterback. Well, now I've wasted a whole year.
Right.
And one thing I found out is that I know more now about quarterbacks and footwork and throwing than they did. So
Right.
they weren't a big help to me at all. because all they would ever say is just throw the ball. Well, that doesn't mean anything to a
Right.
quarterback. You
Right.
got to tell them something.
Right.
So anyway, let me back up a little bit. After my freshman season, we had spring training. I probably had the best spring training of all the quarterbacks. And they still decided they wanted me to play receiver. And I couldn't understand that because during that year, every Saturday, we would go to a different city and have a scrimmage. Because the new guy wanted to show the team around the state.
Okay.
So by the time we got to the main spring game, I'm telling all my friends, hey man, y'all need to come to the game. Y'all need to come watch the game. Do you realize they didn't play me until about halfway in the fourth quarter? Yeah, I'm the only one that scored a touchdown for the team and brought us back. We didn't beat the other side, but we almost beat them because I was out there playing.
Right.
It was unbelievable. And so they changed me. My junior year, put me back at quarterback. I started the first game against Arizona State. I think I played 3 series. My first pass, I threw an interception.
Okay.
So after the third series, the coach came over to me and said, "Well, coach, we're gonna change." I said, "What? What do you mean we're gonna change? We
3
just getting
series.
started."
First quarter still going.
Yeah, we just getting started. So they changed. We lose the game. The next game, they started the other quarterback. This guy threw 7 interceptions in one game.
But he got a chance to throw 6 extra ones after you only got a chance to throw 1.
Right. So when he threw his third interception, I get up and start warming up. I say, I know I'm getting ready to get back in the game. He throws the 4th one, then the 5th one. I sit back down. I say, they're not getting ready to take this sucker out. So they left him in for 7 interceptions. Then the next game, the new quarterback they put in throws 3. I'm still sitting.
They haven't come back to you yet.
Nope, not at all. They didn't come back to me anymore. So the next year, is it at the end of at the end of the season, coach and I have a conversation before the final game. It wasn't a pleasant conversation. I said a lot of things that was on my mind.
Yeah. You had to get it off, man. That was weighing you down.
Yeah. And I told him things. I called him a few names. So, but I knew when I did that, that was probably the end for me. I knew that because I let him have it. When I left out of there, the secretaries looked at me like, "Lewis, what are you doing?" I said, "Yeah, I said everything you heard. I said it." So, yeah. So that was it for me. So my senior year, and I know a lot of times when they had meetings, sometimes they would try to exclude Daddy. And one time he walked in on them, and he saw a bunch of names on the board that they were going to try to get rid of. But my name wasn't on the board. And the main reason was because all my grades were up.
Right.
Were in order, and they were where they were supposed to be, And so they couldn't challenge me because my grades were up.
Did you ever think about transferring?
Yeah, I thought about it.
Man, because even though you couldn't have played, man, it'd have been worth for you to sit out a year, Lewis.
Yeah, you're probably right. Probably right. You think about that afterwards.
Afterwards, right.
I don't know if I wanted to leave because my parents were still there, my dad was still there. That was a thing I thought about. But
the whole family was there.
Yeah, right. Didn't want to pursue. It was just one of those things we had to live with. A lot of times too, when you go to college, especially back then, the coaches would fix your schedule. And so a lot of times they give you classes that are easy classes so
Right.
you can stay eligible. Well, that was another thing that got ticked off at me about. I stopped going to them. I started going to a real counselor because I told him, I said, look, I
You
came
trying
here
to
to graduate.
graduate. You trying to
Yes, I'm
graduate.
getting out of here. So, in fact, I ended up graduating in 4 years.
Right.
And most of the guys that were there didn't do that. There were only two of us that did that. Some of them graduated, took them 5 or 6, or some of them never graduated.
Never
You
graduated.
know, so
Hold on, but
that was
hold that thought.
okay.
Family. His dad is one of the most strict disciplinaries you ever seen.
Oh yeah,
I
you're
told you
right.
I was going to Mohai to follow him because I was in the 9th grade and Mohai, junior high at that time went to the 9th grade. And I was going to go that at that particular time, Lewis kids would start going to Waco High. It was being offered to them. They were coming over to our school trying to get our kids that went to.
Yeah.
No, no, I'm going to Mohai, man. I'm going.
Oh yeah.
My whole family went to Mohai. I said, I'm going to Mohai, but I was scared to death of your dad. I was going to be scared to death of him. I could see him on the sideline, walking down the sideline, sticking his finger in everybody's face. I was like, ooh wee. I said, but I'm going. I'm going anyway because I wanted to win. I wanted to
You're
win.
right.
I'm shocked that your dad didn't step in at Wisconsin, man.
Well,
I'm
he was kind of between a rock and a hard place. He's a
right,
coach
right.
and a daddy,
Mhm.
and it was kind of like he didn't really know what to do. Um, sometimes we would get upset with him because we didn't think maybe he was saying enough.
Right,
But he had to understand he was on the coaching staff.
right.
So what do you do?
Yeah.
Do you act crazy like a daddy might act crazy? Are you a coach and you with the rest of the coaches? So
You're gonna be a team player. You're gonna be a
yeah,
team player. What?
right, exactly right.
All right, I'm
But
sorry I interrupted you, man. But after you, basically, you and another guy, the only one graduated. But man, if I wasn't your cousin or somebody, because I'd been telling you, man, you need to get out of there and go somewhere because they wasting your skills and athletic ability.
and what was so funny about it? After I graduated, I went and played with a semi-pro team. It was like a USFL league,
Right.
and I played. I didn't play quarterback. I played receiver. It took me the preseason before I started. There was another guy that been there for 3 years. He was their starter. I beat him out, and the Dallas Cowboys would always send us players.
Mm-hmm.
And after they saw me play a game, they wanted to know that I wanted to come and try out.
Did you
And
go try out with the Cowboys?
now it was one of those deals. If you go try out, you got to leave your job because I had started working. You had to leave your job. You may or may not make it. It was kind of like, and I had a family. It was kind of like, well, I still have my job when I come back if I don't make the team.
Lewis, you didn't throw all your chips in, man. I thought you would have put all
No,
your chips in on the table and say, I'm going for it. I'm going for
no, no, I didn't do that. I didn't do
it.
it.
You had rent need to be paid,
Yeah, right. So
baby formula need to
yeah,
be bought.
so no, I wasn't gonna try that. So anyway, but back to to Moore High. I really had a lot of fun playing at Moore High and going to Moore High. We had a winning traditions,
Winning tradition.
and if we ever lost a game, the people that beat us, that was like their whole season. They may not win another game, but they beat us.
They beat us. That was it. Hey,
Yeah.
give the listening audience what our district was. These guys down here tell me, oh man, Waco, y'all didn't have to play nobody. Tell them who we played in our district.
We played Madison, Booker T. Washington, I.M. Terrell, Dunbar,
Alice Lincoln.
Lincoln, and those schools had either been in the playoffs or won state championships or were state run-ups themselves. So it wasn't like we were playing people that had never done anything before.
And you didn't mention Austin Anderson.
I forgot about them. Yeah, they all those schools were good. Now Austin Anderson had one run there. They won 2 or 3 years in a row or whatever. I can't remember the coach's name.
Right.
But They always had good teams. My
Good
uncle
players
coached.
always.
Yeah, my uncle coached at Madison, and he was in the state. He never won it, but he was in the state championship game twice himself.
Right.
You know, so no, it was a good league.
True. What you
Um,
talking about?
oh yeah, now I know a lot of people came out of Houston and the Beaumont Galveston area. Um, one reason I think that happened is because they had more newspaper coverage
Right.
there, so the players were known more than some of our players were
Right.
known because the Waco people never put anything in the paper about us. Or you'd have a little bitty write
Never.
up.
Never.
Yeah,
I
we
told the guy, I
little.
said, man, we had to go through Dallas, Fort Worth, and Austin, Alice. Oh boy, I
Yeah,
said, don't get no heavier than that. I don't know what you talking about. We didn't play nobody.
yeah, not at all. Um, one game when we played Anderson Austin homecoming, um, we had just stopped a team from scoring. It stopped Anderson from scoring. They were on the 1 yard line, and we held them. And the next play was going to be a quarterback sneak because we backed up. The ball's on the inch-yard line. Ricky Manning, the center, saw what I saw, so I tapped him on his right hip. The guard evidently saw what I saw, so I snap the ball. I go to the right. Next thing I know, I see Gaines coming across and hit the linebacker. And the next thing I know, 99 yards later, it's a touchdown.
Touchdown. It would live on in infamy. It would live in infamy for that. That was
Right.
it, baby. That was it.
No, but the guy that was filming didn't get it. So
We
nobody's
got
ever
it.
seen
It's
it.
right here in
Yeah,
my head. We got it. It's right here in my head.
and I know. Did you? Oh, you saw it?
Man, by that time I was like in the ninth grade. Oh boy, I'm
Okay.
following you. I'm following you in the ninth grade.
And what was so funny about it? People were leaving the game because it was near the end of the game.
Right.
So one guy told me, he said, "You know what? You kept me from leaving games early." He said, "I'll never leave another game
That's what
ever
I'm saying.
again."
Okay, Lewis, what we're going to do now is I know you're a part of a few organizations. Why don't you tell the listening audience and my family, my YouTube family, about one of the programs you're involved in that I think highly of, the PVIL Association, Coaches Association. Let the listening audience know what that is and what y'all do.
Okay, the PBIL stands for Prairie View Interscholastic League Coaches Association. Now, most people are familiar with the UIL. The UIL runs all the athletics and academic things in the state of Texas. Sports, football, basketball, baseball, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, during segregation time, everything was separate, including athletics. So all blacks, minorities went to separate schools from the white schools. So we had to have an organization that would handle the sports, and that organization started. I think it was in 1920 and went all the way to 1970 when integration became prevalent, came in. So this organization was based in Prairie View, just like the UIL is based at the University of Texas in Austin. So it ran everything from football, basketball, baseball, all the sports, all the academics, the band stuff, just whatever you can think of as far as competition is concerned. It was separate. I don't know how equal it was, but it was separate.
It wasn't equal, trust me. It wasn't equal. It wasn't equal.
So the championship football games would be played in whatever area it's supposed to be played in. The basketball term was always in Prairie View, and the track meet was always in Prairie View. Right. So they had to have an organization to run everything because at different times before it was organized, you may have a state champion over here, a district champion over here, and somebody else is doing something somewhere else. So they organize it. And I know Pat Patterson was probably one of the leaders in organizing the PVILCA.
Head coach Jack Gates.
My uncle Don Grace was also heavily involved. It was called something else before this. It was something like the Texas Black Texas high school coach. I can't remember what the name was before they settled on PVIL. But they started inducting coaches first, and after a while, because I know I was one of the first inductees as far as players are concerned. Then they started inducting players, and my gracious host today, he's also inducted. Himself, I think his name is Larry Rose.
Thanks for ringing my bell, brother. Thanks for ringing my bell.
Right. He was inducted in the part we call, I think it's like the transition, because there was a
Bridging the gap.
transition from there,
Bridging the gap.
Yeah, right. Bridging the gap. There was a transition from the time that it was segregated to the time that it started being integrated. And there were some guys that played in both leagues.
Both leagues.
Yeah. And so Larry was one of them. And so we've inducted people like that because we're trying to keep it going. So we're trying to get younger people involved also. But the main reason for the PVI is that most coaches and athletes that were involved in the PVIL did not get the recognition that they deserved.
Definitely.
When we integrated, the UIL didn't want to take any of our records, didn't say, people were state champions. They really didn't want to accept anything, but slowly they begun to take our records and recognize our state champions and the whole bit. And that's due to Coach Brown, Coach Grace, Coach Brown, Coach Patterson. What was the other guy's name? I can't think of the other guy's name, but there are a lot of people that were involved that actually went and found all the old state championships that were won, and in football, basketball, baseball, and all the other sports, just so people would know. Now, as far as we're concerned, and I think we're the only organization in the United States that's like this.
Oh, okay.
Nobody else has an organization like this. So it's to try to bring together or recognize people that were not recognized. And you'll be surprised how many of those guys are so grateful that somebody finally recognized them for their achievements.
Yes.
And if you think about it, the young kids think that it's always been integrated and that everybody was playing each other.
They don't have a clue. They don't have a clue.
No. And some of the guys that played in the old Black League were some really great athletes that you may have never heard about.
Never heard of. I hear the stories here in Houston, Lewis. Excuse me for interrupting you.
Yeah.
This guy named Sloppy Joe.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't hear anything about him until I got here.
Right.
Yeah.
He was a great running back.
Yes.
Great running back.
Yeah. Went to Prairie View and did all these great things.
Right.
And you never heard about him. Yeah. Never heard about
so that's the reason that the organization was started. And hopefully we can just keep it going. Some of the guys that are recognized, some of them are in wheelchairs now or on canes. They're at the end of life, and they are so grateful
for sure.
and so thankful that somebody finally recognized them. And you can just see the expressions on their faces.
Yes.
When they get their award and when they have to say their little piece. And some of them have never gotten a chance to talk about themselves. So normally on Friday night, we call a meet and greet. And they get a chance to talk about themselves. And some of it is really funny when they get to talk and tell you some stories. Because on the next day, we had the banquet. And so during the banquet, we may have anywhere from 800 to 1,000 people at the banquet. And you don't get a chance to talk long. Then we give them 2 minutes to talk to him. Now, on Friday night, you can talk as long as you want to talk. But not on banquet day.
Now, explain to the public before we get away, what are you talking about? Let the public know that PVIL Association puts on a conference or whatever, an induction thing, and so forth. Go ahead.
Yeah, right. We have an induction ceremony. It's usually in July, and we select different people in the different sports. There's track, baseball, basketball, football, tennis. We even recognize officials sometimes and trainers. They're selected. You know, everybody doesn't get in, so we make a selection of and we have a criteria that we go from. Um,
Who is we? Who is we? How many
we have
directors
a
and so
board.
forth? And who
Yeah,
runs
yeah,
this
we have
area
a
and that
board.
area?
Coach Brown has been the chairman for a long time, and then we have different sections of the state that each board member is responsible for.
Their names?
And Tom,
Do you know their names off the top of your head? Their names?
oh, there's me for one, Coach Brown. You know what? I have a list. They're right there in that book that you have. They're right
Okay.
there in that front
Okay.
page
Okay.
that you have.
Okay.
Um,
And speaking of books, before we get away, there was something you wanted to let my listening audience know about?
yeah, if you want to know about some Texas high school football, you need to look. There's this one book that says Thursday Night Lights. Now, some of you don't know.
Right.
During segregation, black high schools could not play on Friday night because the white
They
schools were
don't
playing on
know it.
Friday
They
night.
didn't know that. I didn't know it until I had read that book.
Right. And so we played on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Now, when you do that and you travel to Dallas, Houston, or wherever, you got to go to school the next day.
That's what I'm saying.
It wasn't Saturday morning where you could sleep in a little bit. We had to go to school the next day. We come back tired on that bus, but Daddy made sure, and all the coaches made sure everybody got to school the next day.
Right.
You had to do that. And another book, and the reason I'm telling you about these books because I'm in the book, and
Okay.
Dad is in the book. All right. And then another book is called Black Man in the Huddle. It says it's stories from the integration of Texas high school football. So this
Bring
gives you a
that book over a little
background.
bit. Bring that book over a little bit, yeah, so my listening audience can see it.
Okay. Yeah, it gives you the background of some things that happened in the state of Texas as far as going from segregation to integration. So this is a good, both books are good reads. And you can buy both of these books on Amazon.
Okay.
All right, so they're both available on Amazon.
Fantastic.
And that's all I have to say about those books. You
Okay.
need to read them.
Hey, man, I'm gonna have you on again. I have
Yeah.
enjoyed myself because, as a listening audience can tell by my excitement, yeah, this was my guy. This is who I wanted to be like. And I'm sure if you ever played high school ball, there was a high school player that you wanted to be like. And so
Yeah, I had one. Freddie Dawson was mine. I always
hear
wanted to
you,
be like Freddie
and
Dawson.
you know what? That's as I said, we got to talk again because there's so
Yeah.
many good players that went. Freddie Lee Dawson family was the great quarterback before this great quarterback at our school.
Right.
And he went to Wiley, and if he hadn't busted his knee, you would have heard about him in the NFL.
Right.
He busted
Probably
his
so.
knee when they had those barbaric surgeries where they be 24 inches long and put screws in your legs. And if they had arthroscopic surgery, Freddie Lee, everybody would know him. Everybody would know Freddie Lee Dotson. Everybody.
You're right.
But anyway, Lewis, I want to thank you, my brother, for being here. And I look forward to having you again. Okay?
Yeah, this was fun. I like this.
Okay. Well, all right, family. We're going to check out, and I hope you enjoyed my guest. And peace. See you guys later.